questions of administrative responsibility? What message does this send to the victims' families who continue to seek closure? And perhaps the biggest question of all, after all the inquiries, suspensions and investigations, has responsibility become diffuse, or has justice simply become delayed? Mr. Vijay Grover, senior journalist, is soon going to be with us. Asha Ramesh, senior journalist, with us on the broadcast. Many thanks, ma'am, for taking the time and speaking to us. How do you read these developments, ma'am? Just a year on, of course, the silver lining here is that the RCB won 2 IPLs back-to-back, but that's the only silver lining here. Remember the tragic scenes of that very day, 11 lives that were lost. I mean, the government says that it has examined the officers' defense and found no grounds to continue departmental action. 11 lives were lost. How does one swallow this information? Asha ji, can you hear us? You'll have to unmute yourself, ma'am. Asha ji, you'll have to unmute yourself. Are you with us? Can we hear you?
Yeah, you were very clear, but suddenly your voice went very low. Can you put the
Yes, I can, ma'am. You see, the government says it examined these 3 senior IPS officers' defense and found no grounds to continue. We all remember the horrific scenes of that day. 11 lives were lost. How does one traverse through these statements? How does one navigate through these latest developments?
Well, in the first place, one would like to say that, the RCB won, and it was obviously, it has a huge fan following.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that it won the IPL championship. The thing is that all the stakeholders, be it the IPL owners, the government and the police, perhaps underestimated the crowd enthusiasm and were unprepared to manage it. Now, crowd management is science and needs to be done. However, in India, it seems to be that the stakeholders have still to learn how to achieve this crowd management, and maybe they need to really develop a proper SOP for this thing. Easy, to punish the police officers and suspend some of them. But the political establishment is also to blame, as they wanted to share the glory and may have pressured the police to allow that kind of celebration to take place, which apparently seems to have violated any existing SOP. Now, Bangalore is not a small city, and with over 1.2 crore population, crowd management is something that needs to be done and taken very seriously.
Absolutely. Mr. Grover, you see,
so the tragedy
need your insights. Ma'am, I'll come back to you. Asha ji, I'll come back to you. Mr. Grover, how do you look at this? I mean, clean chit to all the 3 IPS officers, exonerated, nothing against their record. And what do you say to the families who have lost their loved ones? 11 lives were lost.
Kabir, I was a witness to this entire stampede, and I was there at the stadium the other day. In fact, outside the stadium, to be very precise. Now, one of the things that we need to understand over here is, yes, there was a euphoria which continued from the thing. But when you try to gain mileage out of a celebration of a team and try to make it a state's victory, that was something which was very, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
We saw the politicians trying to, make the best of it. There was supposed to be a victory parade, which was supposed to go around, and if that had taken place, what was the initial plan? The crowd, the same amount of people would have been spread over 10 to 11 kilometers, and there wouldn't have been this kind of a scenario. Now, at the last moment, if the police commissioner decides that managing a parade would be that much more difficult, and I know that there were thousands of people that come from that far end thing, to put them into a stadium, which was something which was a very wrong move, because we all know the capacity of the stadium is only about 35,000 people.
And the narrow gates, and the very narrow gates.
the fact that there were 3 to 4 lakh people outside very clearly should have been a deterrent that there was no need for a celebration, be it a muted one or whatever was planned. Because you cannot control a crowd, a mob of that size. And it was not a political rally because political workers know how to manage the crowds, the pushing and the pulling and all that kind of. These were students, women, girls, college students, youth who have never had this kind of crowds around them, and they were trying to get in.
And I categorically remember, Mr. Grover, the police lathi charging some of these as well because the crowd went unruly, and that started the pushing and, you know, the jostling at those very narrow gates.
Yeah. And when you had an event at the Vidhan Sauda, there was no reason for a second event over there. And that's where the crowd wanted to first see the Vidhan Sauda crowd and then move to the Chinnaswamy Stadium, imagining that they would be able to spend that much more time. So clearly, this was bad planning. Now, coming to the fact, the question that you asked about the 3 IPS officers being exonerated, I can only say one thing. Being, honest to the work, it was not that it was only the 3 people who lacked their thing. They lacked the planning, no doubt, but implementation was something which was at the junior level. And unfortunately, we've seen this go by. One more IPL season is gone by. Once more, RCB is won. But the fact is, people on the ground, the policemen on the ground, they were the ones who were lacking, or, it was dereliction of duty at that level. Because I was standing outside the ATL quarters, headquarters over there at the corner where the Tejas aircraft is. Half the policemen were not even bothered because it was too crowded. They were sitting inside the BSNL office. And only when the mob went berserk that they came out of that and, started trying to show that they were on duty. So if action needs to be taken,
what is one make of
from
this clean chit here, sir? I mean, a clean chit, there's a lump in my throat whilst I even say this.
No, I know it's very unfortunate that the 11 deaths have been thing. The fact that, first to pin the blame at these 3 IPS officers and then not look beyond that. I mean, whoever was supposed to be inquiring should have taken some action at least on the people, the force which was on the ground. And these were the people who were inside the stadium, be it Vikash Kumar Vikash or be it Mr.
Ashaji, but you heard what Mr. Grover is saying. You see, the police officers were having a hunky-dory day inside the BSNL office. The BJP is calling this a cover-up. Let's look at the politics as well. I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Grover, for your opinion on the politics that's brewing right around this entire controversy. The BJP and R. Ashoka, they've had a field day. They've called this a cover-up.
Well, people have lost their lives. So I think that needs to be really given a lot of attention. And often, it's very unfortunate that political mileage is taken over, dead bodies. And this should have been avoided. Whichever government, the government that happened to be there was the Congress government, there have been lapses, things have happened and action should have been taken. But at the same time, I think the opposition shouldn't say that it was a cover-up or something. The fact is that the stadium, the celebrations, they shouldn't have had it in the stadium because the stadium was not sufficient to really accommodate the kind of crowd that was swarming in. So I think they should not have allowed that kind of celebration. There should have been some checks and balances to really avert this kind of stampede that has taken place. It's very, very sad because people have lost their lives and families do want justice.
Mr. Grover, who according to you should answer for the deaths of the 11 victims and the BJP calling this a cover-up? Your viewpoint on the politics that's now, of course, it's not going to die down anytime soon, clearly.
Well, see, very clearly, Kabir, unfortunately, we take everything to politics. It becomes a BJP versus Congress for whatever happens. If it rains, it's politics. If it doesn't rain, it's politics. If it's a stampede, it's politics. It's not. By now, at least we should have learnt our lessons from this stampede. What are the protocols that the Bengaluru City Police or any city police for that
Sir, but isn't the
matter
BJP
needs
right in
to
asking
follow?
those questions right now? I mean,
No, questions are right. But the fact is, try to just pin down the DK. I'm saying the learnings from this should be what?
Yeah.
The police should have by now come out with the process of ensuring that no other stampede takes place like this. I'm taking things beyond the political realm. They may be right in asking questions. They're or trying to pin the blame on DK Shivakumar.
okay.
But the fact is, it was a policing failure. We need to understand that the policing should have been better. And in future, the police commissioner or any other officer should not bow to political
All right,
pressure.
Mr. Grover. I've completely run out of time here. Policing failure, that's the operative part. We're going to leave it at that. 11 lives were lost that evening, and that tragedy can never be undone. But you see, that central question still remains unanswered. We don't have clarity about who was actually responsible after these 3 senior IPS officers were exonerated. Mr. Grover and Asha Ramesh, many thanks for taking out the time and speaking to us here on News9. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of IYI. We're going to catch you again tomorrow. Many thanks for watching, and we're going to leave you with some of those uncomfortable questions as well.
A single street in Belfast, sudden act of violence, and within hours, a city was pulled into chaos. What began as a stabbing has now ignited